Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Saṅghāṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Yankinci dukkhaṃ sambhavati sabbaṃ avijja paccaya. Whatever dukkha arises, they all arise because of avijja, ignorance. Friends, today is the full moon day of July. We all have been practicing from this morning. Now we want to listen to a short Dhamma talk. For this Dhamma talk, our topic is ignorance, avijja. Before we come to this topic, it is better we understand about the significance of this day, significance of the full moon day of July. This full moon day is the second most important full moon day of the Buddhist calendar. The first most significance, the first full moon day, the most important full moon day is Vesak full moon day, that is the full moon day of May, on which the Buddha was born. He attained full enlightenment and passed away. And this is the second most important because it was on this day the Buddha delivered his first sermon. So this full moon day, according to Buddhist calendar, this is the 2559th full moon day. That is that calculation is after passing away of the Buddha. That is how we calculate the Buddhist calendar. So this day, as it is the most important event took place was that the Buddha's first sermon. You know, the Buddha attained enlightenment on the full moon day of May, and then after 2 months he delivered his first sermon. So that is the most important thing. And other than that, there are some other important events took place on this special day. The Buddha from the heaven Tusita, before to be born as a prince, as an aspirant Bodhisattva, aspirant Buddha, Bodhisattva, he descended from heaven Tusita, and he conceived his mother's womb on this day, full moon day of July. And as he led a successful lay life, when he became 29, he renounced his worldly life and became an ascetic. So he renounced worldly life on this day, full moon day of July. And on that particular day, his son Rahula himself was born on that day. That was the full moon day of July. And then the Buddha, according to Abhidhamma, Buddha preached Abhidhamma on this day. It was in the heaven called Thavatinsa. That was also happened on this day. And the Buddha after delivering his first sermon, when the monks, 5 disciples, when they attained enlightenment, together with them, the Buddha observed 3 months rainy seasons. That was the first rain residence of the Buddha. So that also took place on this day. So those are the important events took place on this day. So this observance of 3 months rain residence is very important for all of us even today, because we monks follow this practice, this tradition even today. Now you see, today is a very important day for all of us, for Bhavana. We establish a new Sima. Sima is a place for monastic, especially for full-fledged monks, to get together and do their Patimokka recitation, to perform their Sangha performances, chant, recite Patimokka and all these things. So for that purpose, we need a special place. That is what is called Sima. So this was established today, re-established here, this new Sima. Therefore, it is another very significant day for all of us. So now the monks got together today, 11 monks, and they established Sima, and as they all now ready to observe 3 months rain residence, 3 months retreat. This will be done tomorrow. So the monks from tomorrow for 3 months, they observe 3 months rainy, that is called rainy retreat, rain residence for 3 months. So monks, during this time, monks cannot go out for long, only maximum for 7 days. It is also with a determination. We have to determine it before leaving the monastery. Like that, there are certain rules for that. And at the end of the 3 months, the monks get a chance to receive a gift, a robe, special robe, as a gift for the community, not for one particular person, but that robe is offered to the whole community, the Sangha. Then the Sangha, the monks, decide to whom it is to be given. So that robe is called Kathina robe. In order to offer that robe, there will be a special ceremony. It's a big ceremony in every temple. They have this Kathina ceremony. So all these chance, we got this chance, we got these opportunities on this wonderful day, the full moon day of July. So on this day, you all are engaged in the Dhamma. You all are engaged in doing all good deeds from this morning. So for this Dhamma talk, as I said, for this Dhamma talk, our topic is ignorance, Avijja. Ignorance is a very important factor to be understood, because as the Buddha said, all dukkha, whatever dukkha, all dukkha comes to be because of ignorance. And all dukkha come to cease because of the cessation of ignorance. Therefore, it is very much important to understand this Dhamma, this concept of ignorance. So, what is ignorance? Ignorance is, as the Buddha himself said, ignorance means not knowing the Four Noble Truths. Not knowing the Four Noble Truths. That is what is ignorance. Since we do not know the Four Noble Truths, we are wandering in samsara. Buddha himself said this. Buddha said it is because of not understanding, not knowing these Four Noble Truths, we all are wandering in samsara without understanding the beginning of this samsara. So the Four Noble Truths are to be understood first. This is to know. If you know the Four Noble Truths, you are not ignorant any longer. You know then. That knowing is important, not the realization. Because when we know these Four Noble Truths, we have right understanding. Friends, without right understanding, how come to the path? The path, the Buddha, on this very day, Buddha delivered his first sermon. In his first sermon, Buddha said that there are two extremes not to be followed by us. Not to be followed by us, but to follow the middle way, middle path. That middle path is the Noble Eightfold Path. Of the path, the first factor to be understood is the Four Noble Truths. When we understand these Four Noble Truths, we have right understanding. Then we can think properly, think rightly, think correctly. When we think correctly, properly, we have good thoughts because of our right understanding. As we have right understanding, we then have right concept, right thoughts. That is what is called right thoughts, the second factor of the path. Then we verbalize it. Verbalize, that is right speech. Then we try to live accordingly. That is right action. Then our livelihood is right livelihood. Then we have effort. Right effort. Right effort is made to practice Dhamma, to be mindful. That is our right mindfulness. Right mindfulness means 4 establishments of mindfulness. Then we come to the 8th factor, which is right concentration. If we have right concentration, supported by the first 7 factors of the path, that right concentration leads to right knowledge, which is the realization of the Four Noble Truths. And finally, we can come to the state of liberation, which is called right liberation. This is the path. Open the path. The first thing that we need is right understanding. If we have no right understanding, if we don't know these Four Noble Truths even in their names, there are thousands, millions, billions people here in this world. They even don't know these Four Noble Truths, even their names. Are they wise? Are they wise enough to understand Dhamma? That is why it is called ignorant. That is what is called nay-science. They do not know what science is. They do not know what science is. If they know these Four Noble Truths, you all know these four Noble Truths. The Buddha taught. There is something to be understood as unsatisfactoriness. Unsatisfactoriness is the truth in the world. It is all over the world. Wherever beings, there is this unsatisfactoriness. Then when there is unsatisfactoriness, there is a cause for that unsatisfactoriness. What is the cause? The cause of unsatisfactoriness is craving. So the unsatisfactoriness is to be understood, to be comprehended. The cause of unsatisfactoriness as the craving is to be abandoned. Then we can realize the cessation of unsatisfactoriness. That is the attainment of enlightenment. That is to be realized. And for that there is a path. That path is to be developed. So this is the way. If we have that understanding, if we know this, that is what is called science, Avijja. So ignorance means not knowing the Four Noble Truths. What happens when we don't know Four Noble Truths? The Buddha said, the whole mass of suffering comes to be. According to the dependent origination, Buddha said, Avijja Pachya Sankhara. Dependent on ignorance, formations come to be. Formations. What are the formations? There are three types of formations. Bodily formation, verbal formations, and mental formation. What is bodily formation? Breath is called bodily formation. Breath is our body. Breath is another body. This is one body, this is another body. Breath is another body. So formation here means breath, bodily formation. Then verbal formation means thinking and examining. Thinking and examining. Vitakka vichara. And then mental formation means feeling and perception. These are called formations in the dependent origination. Then dependent on these formations, consciousness come to be. Consciousness comes to be. Then consciousness itself is sixfold. We have 6 types of consciousness. Eye consciousness, ear consciousness, nose consciousness, tongue consciousness, body consciousness, and mind consciousness. These are called consciousness. Dependent on consciousness, mentality and materiality comes to be. Mentality and materiality, name and form come to be. Name, what is name? Name or mentality means feeling, perception, volitional formation, contact and attention. These 5 are called name or mentality. Then what is physicality? Form, earth, water, fire, air, these 4. So when we have this mentality and materiality, 6 senses come to be. 6 senses: eye, ear, nose, tongue, body and mind. All these come to be because of name and form, nama rupa. When we have 6 senses, then contact comes to be. Contact takes place because of the impingement, because of the meeting of the 3. What are the 3? Internal base, external base and consciousness. When these 3 come to be, meeting of these 3 is called contact. Suppose eye, form and consciousness. They 3 come together. That is called contact. Ear, sound and consciousness come together. That is called contact. Like that, all the 6 senses, contact comes to be because of 6 senses. When we have contact, what happens? when we have contact, dependent on contact, feeling comes to be. Feeling comes to be. Feeling is threefold, basically threefold. Pleasant feeling, painful feeling, and neutral feeling. These are three types of feeling. Dependent on feeling, craving comes to be. Craving comes to be. Craving is again sixfold. Eye craving, ear craving, nose craving, tongue craving, body craving, mind craving. This craving arises in these senses, and this craving should be ceased there, right there. Where it came from, it is to be ceased at the same place. So, eye craving should be ceased in the eye. Ear craving should be ceased in the ear. Nose craving should be ceased in the nose. Tongue craving should be ceased in the tongue. Then body craving should be ceased in the body. Mind craving should be ceased in the mind. Then we come to the state of coolness. That is what is called liberation, release. So, craving comes to be dependent on feeling. Then when we have craving, we want to grasp things. We want to keep things as ours. We drag things closer. Upadana. Attachment comes to be. Dependent on craving, attachment comes to be. When we have attachment, then existence comes to be. Existence itself is threefold. Sensual sphere, material sphere, and immaterial sphere. We are born again and again in these existences. Existence comes to be because of attachment. When there is existence, then there comes jati, the birth. Together with birth, the Buddha said, together with birth, decay, death, sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, whole mass of suffering comes to be. Why? What is the reason? Avijja, ignorance. Ignorance. It is because of ignorance all these, 12 links came to be. So the Buddha himself said, with the entire cessation of ignorance, formations come to cease. With the entire cessation of formations, consciousness comes to cease. Like that, the whole process comes to cease because of the cessation of ignorance. In such a way, Buddha explained this ignorance. One day, a certain deity came to the Buddha and said, Kinsu patatang settang, Kinsu nipatatang marang, Kinsu pavajamananang, Kinsu pavadatang marang. He asked 4 questions. Kinsu uppatatang settang. Of all those rise up, what is the best? What is the best of all those rise up? The second question. Kinsu nipatatang marang. Of all fall down, what is the best? What excels among all? What excels fall down? What's the best? And then Kinsu pavajamananang. Of all those who walk, go forward, who is the best, of course? He asked. And then the fourth question he asked, among all those who speaks, who is the best? The Buddha said, Vijja uppatatang settang avijja nipatatang varang sangho pavajamananang buddho pavadatang varang. Vijja uppatatang settang, of all those rise up, what is best is Vijja, science, knowledge. Knowledge is the best. Vijja uppatatang settang. Avijja nipatatang varang, of all those fall down, the best is ignorance. If you can cut down your ignorance, that is the best. Then the third, of all those who walk, the best are the Sangha, the community. And of all those who speak, the Buddha is the best. That's how the Buddha said. Friends, one day, in the time of the Buddha, there was a Brahmin ascetic named Bhavana. He, as a Brahmin ascetic, he used to perform sacrifices to propitiate the Creator. One day, he went to the sacrificial altar and offered many things in the name of the Creator. And then he came back to his kuti, his cell. When he came back, there was another ascetic. His whole body was dusty, his teeth, reddish teeth, matted hair, and this another ascetic had come there. And he asked 500 gold coin. Those days they used gold coin as money, gold coin or silver. That is why Buddha prescribed, Buddha said, Buddha sort of imposed a rule for monks not to use gold and silver. If use gold and silver, those days, when use gold and silver, they use money. If they use money, they use gold and silver. Therefore, Buddha said, do not use money, because gold and silver both are not suitable for monks and nuns both. So, however, this person came there and he asked 500 gold coin, 500 money. Then this ascetic said, friend, I have no money, nothing to be given to you, because I have whatever I had, I offered them all in the name of the God. So when he said this guest ascetic said, if you can't give me 500 when I ask, may your head split into 7 within 7 days. He cursed in such a way. He cursed. That is what they did those days. They cursed. Curse, blessing, both. So he cursed to split his head into 7 within 7 days. Then this man was so upset. He been quite bewildered, confused, started to think what is to be done. This he accepted. He believed that it happened. So he wanted to prevent this. Then now he started to think what is to be done. Then a certain deity of his relatives in his previous lives appeared and said, don't worry, it never happened. It never happened. Because though he cursed, he himself does not know what the head is, or he does not know what the splitting of head is. Though he said this, he himself does not know this. Therefore, it never happened. So then he asked, then who knows this? The deity said, the Buddha knows this. Only Buddha knows what the head is, real splitting of head. Buddha knows this. Then better you go and meet the Buddha and ask, the deity said. Then he asked where the Buddha is living now. He said, go to the north, India. Buddha is there in the monastery named Jetavana. Go there and meet him. This ascetic, Bhavana, by that time he was 120 years old. He can't walk that far, that distance. So he asked his students. He had 500 students. Of them there was 16 prominent, eminent students. 16. He then called them and asked them to go and meet the Buddha. Then they asked, when we go there, how can we recognize Buddha? Then the Brahmin said, why don't you know that we have, according to our scriptures, Vedic scriptures, the characteristics of a great man are given. Characteristics are 32 characteristics, 32 marks of a great man are given. So when you go there, you can see as the Buddha is a great man, Mahapurusha. He has these qualities, he has these features. When you go there, you can see the Buddha, you can recognize the Buddha. So he further said, when you go to meet the Buddha, better you ask questions mentally, not verbally. Ask questions mentally. Then Buddha will answer you verbally. So the teacher, Bhavana, himself asked them to ask questions. What are the questions to be asked? He said, better you ask about me first. About our teacher. Who is our teacher? Mentally ask. When you go to meet the Buddha, ask mentally, who is our teacher? Then the Buddha will answer. Then ask, how many students are there for our teacher? Like that, about him. Ask about him, he said. Then they went to meet the Buddha. And when they met the Buddha, they of course asked these questions mentally. Buddha replied, and finally, of the 16 students, there was one student named Ajita. He asked a question, personal question. They all asked their personal questions, and eventually they all became the disciples of the Buddha. They all attained enlightenment. All these students. So this man, the student named Ajita, he asked this question. He asked, Kena sunyuto loko, Kena sunappakasate, Kisabilepanang brusi, Kinsu tassa mahabhayang. Again, he also asked 4 questions. Kena sunyuto loko. He asked, Bhante, with what this world is shrouded, this world is covered. With what this world is covered? Kena sunyuto loko. Kena nappakasati. Because of what? That cannot be understood, that it is covered. Because of what one cannot understand this. Then the third, with what this world is smeared. Smeared with what? And the fourth one, what is his greatest fear? Those are the 4 questions he asked. The Buddha replied. Buddha said, Avijjaya niyuto loko vevicca pamadana pakasate jappa bilepanam brumi dukkhang tassa mahabhayang. Avijja, see, avijja, ignorance. Avijja niyuto loko. What is this loka? Loka, according to the teaching of the Buddha, loka is within. We are the world. If we can understand ourselves, we can understand the world. That is how we understand the world. That is how the Buddha realized the world. Buddha realized this world system. Buddha realized thousand system of the world. Twice 1,000 system. Thrice 1,000 systems of the world. Because Buddha realized himself. So if we realize ourselves, we can realize the world. So this world, as he asked, with what this world is covered, shrouded, the Buddha said, Avijjaya niyuto loko. This world is covered with ignorance. Avijja. You see? Avijjaya niyuto loko. Vevicca pamada nappakasati. What is the reason that one cannot understand that? As the student asked, what is the reason that what is the reason that cannot understand it? The Buddha said, because of stinginess and heedlessness, one cannot understand this. Stinginess and heedlessness. Then he asked, with what this world smeared, smeared over. What is that? Buddha said, Jappa bilepanam brumi. Jappa means craving. It is the craving. Craving is all over here. What are all over means? Eye craving, ear craving, nose craving, tongue craving, body craving, mind craving. Those are the places. So, craving is all over. That is why it is said, smeared all over. And then, what is the greatest fear? He asked. The Buddha said, Dukkhang tassa mahabhayam. His greatest fear is dukkha. Dukkha, unsatisfactoriness, is the greatest fear. Buddha and all Arahants attain enlightenment by realizing 3 types of knowledge. All Arahants should understand 3 types of knowledge. The first one is the ability to understand previous birth, previous existence, pre-existence. The second one is ability to understand and see how beings are born to this world and how beings depart here and are born in other worlds, other realms. That is the second knowledge. And the third one is called complete destruction of defilements, destruction of all taints. That is called asavakkaya jnana. Asava means taint. There are 3 types of asava, 3 types of taints. Taints of sensual pleasures, taints of existence, and taints of ignorance. You see again, ignorance. So, this this understanding of the three knowledge, these are called triple knowledge, is the way to attain enlightenment. One day the Buddha said, Anamataggo ayang bhikkhave sansaro pubbha koti na panyayati avijja nivarananang sattanang sandhavati samsarati. What is this? Referring to sansara. What is sansara? Sansara means sansarati. We are wandering. Wandering where? Wandering in different states, different realms, different existences. Referring to sansara, Buddha said, Anamataggo ayang bhikkhave sansaro, must beginning of this sansara. Beginning, first point of this sansara is quite undiscernible, indiscernible, quite difficult to see. It is very difficult to see the beginning of this samsara. Nobody can say that on that particular day this being came to exist. Referring to beings in the world, nobody can say that, or it was on that particular day this being came to exist. So it is such a long distance. It's difficult. Anamataggo ayam bhikkhave sansaro pubbha koti. The first point, pubbha koti na panyayati. It is quite difficult to see. Na panyayati. Avijja nivaranana. You see, avijja, again, ignorance. Ignorance, hindered by ignorance. This is the problem. Beings are hindered by ignorance and fettered by craving. So ignorance and craving, these are the problems. These are the problems. Ignorance and craving, fettered by, hindered by ignorance and fettered by craving. Beings are born again and again. Hindered. Hindrance. Not only ignorance. Ignorance, when we think of ignorance itself comes to be because of ignorance. Because of hindrances. There are, basically, there are five types of hindrances. 5 hindrances are sensual desire, ill will, sloth and torpor, or restlessness, sleepiness and laziness, restlessness and worry and doubt. These are called hindrances, 5 hindrances. These are the basic thing. These are the first thing to be subdued for the success of our meditation. If we cannot subdue these 5 hindrances, we cannot come to the state of tranquility. The Buddha said in a discourse named Ignorance, Avijja, in the Anguttara Nikaya, the numerical discourses, they said, it is because of 5 hindrances ignorance come to be. So ignorance come to be because of some reasons. There are causes, nutriment. The nutriment of ignorance, nutriments are 5 hindrances. So as long as we have 5 hindrances, we have ignorance. Ignorance and delusion, both these are there. When we have ignorance, we have delusions as well. There are 3 roots of all unwholesome deeds, unwholesome things. What are the 3 roots? Greed, hatred and delusion. So, delusion and ignorance, these are quite similar, but not exactly the same. As long as we have ignorance, we have delusion as well. Like ignorance is the mother. Ignorance is the mother and delusion is the child. Like that. So as long as we have ignorance, we have delusion as well. So delusion is, it is because of delusion craving arises. It is because of delusion hatred arises. Greed, hatred and delusion, these three are like a triangle. But we have to understand, because of delusion, craving and aversion, they both come to be because of delusion. So the Buddha said, ignorance comes to be because of 5 hindrances. Then why 5 hindrances come to be? 5 hindrances come to be because of wrong conduct. 3 modes of wrong conduct. There are 3 ways that we do things: verbally, mentally, physically. It is because of wrong conduct, misconduct of these 3, 5 hindrances come to be. So these three modes of wrong conduct come to be because of some causes. There are causes. You know, the whole teaching of the Buddha is a teaching of cause and effect. So the 3 modes of wrong conduct come to be because of non-restraint of 6 senses. So non-restraint of 6 senses come to be because of what? Because of lack of mindfulness and clear comprehension. If you are not mindful, if you have no clear comprehension, then 6 senses are not restrained. Then the lack of mindfulness and clear comprehension comes to be because of unwise attention. Because of unwise attention. The unwise attention comes to be because of lack of confidence, faith. The lack of confidence comes to be because of not listening to the real Dhamma, sublime Dhamma. Lack of listening or not listening to the real Dhamma is the cause of not associating good friends. Friends, this is a very good factor. One day, Venerable Ananda went to the Buddha and said, Bhante, half of this holy life depends on good friend. The Buddha said, no, Ananda, do not say so, do not say so. Not half, full. The holy life is depend on good friends. Kalyana Mitta. Good friends are very much important. That is why we have to associate good friends. When we associate good friends, we get a chance to listen to the real Dhamma, sublime Dhamma. What is real Dhamma? Sublime Dhamma.
How can we choose the Dhamma for the living life?
Buddha Dhamma is, real Dhamma is the 37 factors of enlightenment. 37 factors of enlightenment are to be understood. If we know the 37 factors of enlightenment, we know the sublime Dhamma. 37 factors of enlightenment are 4 establishments of mindfulness, 4 right efforts, 4 roads to power, 5 spiritual faculties, 5 mental powers, 7 factors of enlightenment, and the Noble Eightfold Path. These are called 37 factors of enlightenment. Why they are called 37 factors of enlightenment? Because when you practice, develop, cultivate these 37, you are leading. They help you to lead for the realization of Nibbana, for the attainment of enlightenment. So, when we associate good friends, we can understand this Dhamma, Kalyana Mitra, because Kalyana Mitras are those who share this Dhamma. That is why. Then we can develop our confidence. Confidence in the Buddha, Dhamma and the Sangha. As we have confidence, we give attention. That is our right attention, wise attention. When we have wise attention, we have right mindfulness and clear comprehension. Right mindfulness, clear comprehension helps us to restrain ourselves. Buddha said, restrain your eye, that's good. Restrain your ear, that's good. Restrain your nose, that's good. Restrain your tongue, it's good. Restrain your body, it's good. Like that. Those who restrain all over will attain enlightenment, come to liberation. So, in such a way, when we develop these things, when we understand these things, we can understand ourselves. We can subdue these hindrances and eventually we can cut off ignorance. Once we cut off ignorance, what happens? Ignorance is dependent on taints. As I said earlier, there are 3 taints, very subtle impurities, defilements, taints. These taints are to be completely cut off, completely eradicated. The 3 are the taints of sensual desire, taints of existence, and taints of ignorance. So ignorance is dependent on taints, taints are dependent on ignorance, like this. Therefore the Buddha said, cut off this sort of circle. It's like a whirlpool. Buddha said, cut off it. Chinda sotang. Chinda. Cut off this. Chinda sotang parakkama. With effort. Ardent. Cut this off. Chinda sotang parakkama. Kame panuda brahmana. Destroy sensual pleasures. Then sankharanang kayang nyatva. Having understood the nature of the destruction of all formations, akatanyuse brahmana, be a person who knows Nibbana, who realizes Nibbana. So, in this way, we can cut off either taints or ignorance. If you cut off ignorance, you are free. If you cut off taints, you are free. You are released. That is called liberation. When you completely eradicate these taints, you become a taintless person, free from taints. That person is called Khina Sava. It is an epithet to the enlightened one. Friends, this is the purpose of this practice. We practice to eradicate our defilements, to cut off all defilements and attain perfect peace. Realize Nibbana. That is the purpose of practicing this Dhamma. So let's all understand this Dhamma. Let's all practice this Dhamma in our daily life so that one day we all can realize real peace, real happiness of Nibbana. May we all attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, Sadhu.